So PICU is a psychiatric intensive care unit, usually a much smaller unit than general adult psychiatry. So often they average kind of 10 beds up to maybe 15 beds. And dealing with the most unwell people at that time.
We're there to obviously make people well again for that recovery process and to support them to go back to a less secure ward.
Intensive care can offer an individual a break from whatever is going on elsewhere, maybe on another ward that they've been on or maybe in the community.
Health is all health, physical and mental. You don't have one without the other, and there's nothing any more mysterious about having a mental health difficulty at a time in life than there is about a physical health difficulty.
When it comes to PICUs, women intensive care has a very bad stigma and very bad perception of what happens on a female PICU.
PICU work can be seen as very containing, and there is a stigma around that. It does, in my experience, people are a bit more wary about setting foot onto a locked ward.
But when I say that I, work in psychiatry, they went, "Oh, is your job scary?" And I'm like, "Oh, why is it scary?" And they said, "Oh, because, you're working with those sorts of patients."
Most of the people in intensive care are the same as you and I. They just have a significant mental health problem and can't take care of themselves and need somebody to take care of them during that episode to keep them safe and to help them restabilise and recover.
The media has not been kind to mental health care. The mindset of the masses is quite often to go down the fear and anxiety and judgment route.
And I think that historically, perhaps there was a view, probably from the outside, that those working on PICU were tougher, were bigger, were musclier, were able to restrain.
Personally, if I went by what people told me about a PICU before I went to work there, I didn't see anything of what they said.
It's our job, and I think every mental health nurse has a role to play in reducing stigma.
The stigma is still far more acute than it ought to be, given the extent of knowledge and scientific progress to this point.
When I started working on PICU, it was really quickly, highlighted to me that it was the opposite. That actually it was about the relationship that I had with people that were admitted to the PICU, and it was my ability to engage people in a meaningful way through a variety of interventions, that actually the ability to restrain someone was the one of the least kind of skills that I used actually working on PICU.
Very much a community-facing service. Used lots and lots of leave from the ward, including patients going out unescorted when the risk assessment dictates, and I think it's our responsibility to communicate that to the public really, and it isn't somebody that's locked away for a prolonged period of time. It's somebody that needs some very intensive support, and they can move on from that, and that's our job.
Many units now offer a whole range of activities, both within the unit and outside, access to education programmes, so there's a whole host of activity that goes on.
It's called an intensive care unit, and the intensive part of that, I believe people that are more unwell and not able to be supported on the general acute wards do require more intensive support, and we need more structure and more ability to provide therapeutic interventions in a PICU. In my opinion. So what we tend to do, we've got access to lots of activity, things like gym, pool table.
When people are admitted to a PICU, they're unwell. They are unwell. And sometimes people don't realise that people get better. It's with treatment.
If you're at that point in your recovery, you can start thinking about the journey forward with others and learn from others. And yeah, I think it's really important. Otherwise, you'd just be on your own with all these thoughts.
Many people I've met have become stronger as a result of having to deal with those challenges. They have better insights into themselves, and they've been able to provide inspiration actually to other people.
The onus is for us not to take control of people's lives, but to help give them control back.
It isn't just you get ill and then you get better and move on. Actually, the experience can add to people's resilience and add to their own understanding of themselves, and they're much more able to make a positive contribution for others having lived that experience.